WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from Amrut, the most expensive of the three that I'm going to taste here in a row. This is their peated port pipe with 60%. This was distilled in December of 2013 and in August of 2020, bottled here for Europe. This is called the Special Limited Edition European Exclusive Casknumber 2712, and it's one of the 468 bottles. Whiskybase 176934, and this is 179 euros. So I was a little bit crazy, and for a couple of my fans here, I bought some bottles to share with them. I'm just going to show you, and I'm going to compare this one. This is going to be my comparison bottle. This is the Ex-Coroni. This actually sold out in my bottle share very, very quickly. And what did not sell out very, very quickly in my bottle share was the Amrut Tipava. So you see in front of you 450 euros worth of whiskey. All right. And so this was the best. This was the second best, and as you probably can understand now, this is going to be my third least favorite of these expensive bottles. And it was the most expensive. 180 euros is what I paid basically for this, and it's not worth it. This, 140 euros, is almost worth it. This is a fantastic, beautiful bottle. These both have 60% ABV. So they say on the side of the box, they say this exclusive bottling of the Amrut Indian Single Malt Whiskey offers the connoisseur the rare opportunity to sample this treasure of India. They use exactly the same text on both of these, which I think is okay. It is not chilled filtered and comes bottled at its natural color at a high proof. So they just bottle it down, dilute it down to 60%. This they diluted down to 50%. Someone likes those even numbers there. All right, so on the nose, I'm getting a little bit of a weak peat moment, and I'm getting a little bit of an interesting port moment. There's a very strong, more of a barley moment, but it doesn't smell like a wow whiskey, and it doesn't smell like a old whiskey. I would put this at about 10 years. Now, I could find very, very, very little information about this online. Sorry. I do not know if this was actually made from barley from India. I do not know if it's 80% non-malted and non-peated and 20% peated whiskey somehow, or malt. I don't know anything about this. I could not find out anything. The feeling is it's not 100% peated malt from Scotland. I have the feeling that it might be a little bit of a mix of the two, which we might sometimes have found by other Amrut bottlings. For example, the Amrut Fusion. Fusion is a mixture of Indian barley and peated barley from Scotland, which I have the feeling that this is similar to. They put it in a port pipe. A port pipe is about 500 to 550 liters, very big actually. The sherry butt is actually a little bit smaller. Port pipe's a little bit less long, shorter, and more round, so they have more of a curvature to their wood. A little bit easier to roll and maneuver and so on back then. Portugal used to sell their port all over the world, and so it had to be put on a boat, and these shapes of the casks have been used ever since. So, going over here to the Ex-Coroni, which was a rum cask. This lures me in. I like this. This is very, very nice. I've talked about this already. I love this whiskey. Fabulous whiskey. Not worth 144 euros in my opinion. Maybe, almost. Definitely not worth the 179 euros. This is, as I said, a European exclusive. You might get it in the UK. You might get it in other places in Europe. You might find it in auction. There's nothing wrong with it. There's not much wrong with it, but it's just not getting that wow moment that I expect from such a expensive whiskey. And it has a lot more of a bite. This had less alcohol bite, even though it's 60%. That was fabulously matured. This is not as much. So there is the Amrut cask strength out there. There's a cask strength and the peated cask strength. I like the cask strength a lot. The cask strength peated is not bad either. But that they're 40-year whiskeys, 50 euros whiskeys at the most. This is 180. So I'm going to nip on it, put some water in it, and really, really try to give you a halfway decent description. There's so much alcohol in the middle, it pulls it down. There's a little bit of alcohol towards the end. There's a little bit of a chocolatey moment, which is interesting. The port, the berries, that port red moment, I don't know if it was a Tony port. I don't know. I assume it was a Tony port. The port is very, very quiet. There's no shouting here. The entire whiskey is a little bit quiet. Towards the end, it has a nice finish. The finish lasts and for a little while. So there's a nice little echo chamber that continues on a different word today. There's a nice little echo that continues on and on and on and on. But the main experience of the whiskey here in the middle is hot. It's burning sensation. It's not really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to dilute it down to around 50%. Might be 48. So I found that that is almost a sweet spot here. No one said you have to drink the whiskey at the volume or at the ABV it was bottled. All right, so in this case, they decided, hey, 60% is a good number, boom. I said, in this case, maybe for you it's 55, maybe for you it's 60, maybe for you it's 40. For me, somewhere between 48 and 50% is this whiskey's sweet spot. On the nose, a tiny little bit more of a chocolatey type of malty, of a peatiness. The port disappears almost. Not getting any red berries. Very quiet, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Much more drinkable. Even now, it still has a little bit of heat towards the end. There's a good interaction with the peat and with the port, but they're kind of fighting with each other a little bit as well. It's not a harmony. It's more of a living beside each other in two different apartments. Don't bother me, I won't bother you. Be quiet, I'll be quiet, and everyone's okay. There's a little bit of friction there, but it's not an all-out fight yet. The alcohol is still there. It seems like it's a young whiskey. I would have put it maybe at 8, maybe 10 years old max. It's almost 7 years old. And we say that 1 year in Scotland, 1 year in India is basically almost the same as 3 years in Scotland or Ireland. So this should be somewhere around the 18 to 20-year-old range here. And it's just not. It's just not in the palate. It's just not what it could and should and actually has to be to justify a price of 180 euros per bottle. So this is a European exclusive edition, and I can highly recommend to leave it at your shops. Do not buy this whiskey. I'm going to give it a C to C minus. It's not bad, but it's not something that I'm going to say go buy it. And I'm going to give it an F minus. I don't know if we can have a minus with Fs or not, for value for money. This is not worth 180 euros. This is not worth 129 euros. This is a 60-euro whiskey. This, with 140 some euros, is special to my heart. And I might be willing to pay 140 some euros again for something such as special as this. It's still overpriced, but I really, really like it. And so therefore, you never know. You never know. Some crazy guys out there might be willing to pay that much for a bottle. Question of the day. I'm still learning about peated whiskeys. Sorry. What would be a great peated whiskey that has port? So I'm going to think about it for 3 seconds. 3, 2, port-ree. 1. So that'd be my suggestion. Port Riz is a beautiful, beautiful whiskey. I can get 4 bottles of Port Riz for this. It's just, and I prefer the Port Riz. That should mean something. All right. I'd rather have a Port Riz in my glass with its 45.8% than the 60% here from Amrut. Port Riz is a no-age statement, but yet it tastes better than this, in my personal opinion. So I poured a tiny little bit of the Amrut ex Caroni. I just would like to gush and hush and have a moment with this, please, if you do allow me. Go back to my video and watch this if you like. This is a beautiful, beautiful expression of what wood can do to whiskey. This was distilled a couple months after this, filled in the same year, probably in the same time at the same month. And this was a wonderful, wonderful cask. This was an okay cask. And by the way, how did they get the port cask to India? Now, I have a cask at the moment in Ireland, which is a port cask. And the first shipment of port casks that arrived at the distillery in Ireland, they had actually turned bad. There was too much heat in the container, and the port had actually turned more to a vinegar type of moment than the beautiful, beautiful port. And so we don't send to Scotland and to Ireland whiskey in the summer. So we don't send, sherry and port casks in the summer. We do it in the spring, especially in the winter, in the fall and summer. We just kind of pause a little bit. Now, India is always warm, always. How did they get that port cask all the way over there without it turning on them? If you have some more information, write it down or contact me at WhiskyJason@gmail.com. I'm going to have to contact the distillery as well to see how they did that, because that was way back in 2013 that they did it, so they must have done something right there. Give me a moment. This whiskey actually gets better after you swallow it. That rum finish, that rum maturation really comes through. I like. All right, so thank you very much for showing up. Thank you very much for watching this channel. At the moment, it's almost growing even faster than my German channel. And my German channel has has not bad growth, at least for me. Let's see what happens. I'm continuing basically just doing the same video twice. I do it once in German, and you get the concise version, even though it was 13 minutes. I think my German video was 20 minutes. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell others. All the best. Whiskey Jason here. And don't forget, buy normal Amrut, buy normal Paul John, but don't go for the individual special casks all the time without having a recommendation from someone you trust. All the best, Whiskey Jason. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.